All right, so you can see we've got, this is a small studio. Ceilings aren't high, but it doesn't stop us from doing a lot of great portrait work. I've got two lights on the set right now. I've got my main light here with a big, basically 3 foot by 4 foot softbox. I've got a smaller strip light over here. So officially, this is a 90 by 120 centimeter softbox. This is a, I've already forgotten, that 30 by 90. Yeah, you got to help me out here. 30 by 90 strip. So what we're going to do is, we're mostly concerned with getting our main light correct. Now, Francesca, I'm going to do more of a slight short lighting on her, which means the side of her face away from the camera is getting the main light. And we're using this strip on this side as a fill. This is going to allow us to create lighting ratios that are going to be very gentle from light to dark. To do that, what do we need? We need to have our light meter. So let's measure these lights. All right, so I've got my light meter and I need to measure each of these lights. Now this is a Conic 478D. There's a dome on this thing. And I know this confuses a lot of people. What's with the dome? Well, in general, you want the dome out because it mirrors the shape of the face. See that? So that's the reason for it. So it picks up the different amounts of light on either side. However, we want to measure each of our lights individually. So to do that, I'm going to put the dome in because what that allows to happen is it doesn't allow the other light to actually affect the reading. So I've got the little test button on my controller here, and I'm going to measure first my main light coming to Francesca's face on this side, and I'm getting F9. Great, that's lovely. Then I'm going to come to the other side and measure the fill. And I'm getting 5, 6, so 5, 6 to 9. Again, let's do our f-stops. You're going to know f-stops by the time we're done with this thing.
I hope so.
5, 6, so 6, 3, 7, 1, 8 is one full stop, and then one more third brings us up to 9. So it's 1 1/3 stops. It's a smidge over a 2-to-1 light ratio because 5, 6 is half the amount of light of f8. You got that? There'll be a quiz later. We're at f9. What I could do, if I really wanted a strict 2-to-1, in fact, let's go ahead and do that. This is my number 1 channel light. So I'm going to go ahead and 1, 2, 3, bring it down 3/10, and let's see if now we get f8. So we'll take another reading here. What's it say?
F8.
There we go, f8. f8, 5, 6, that's exactly one stop, which means this light is putting out exactly twice as much light as that one on Francesca's face. That's a 2-to-1 light ratio. Very basic, very clean, creates a very gentle gradation. We'll have a little bit more shadow on this side of her face than there, but that's what creates shape. So let's get a couple shots like that. Put your hands on your lap, both hands. There we go. I'm gonna shoot some horizontals too, since this is for video. Wow, too. Yeah, nice. Yeah, there you go. Just keep moving. Drop that shoulder a little more. There we go. And bring your far shoulder around to me. 2-to-1 light ratio. Very basic, very simple, very clean. Yes, we have a plain gray background here, which is fairly boring. We'll spruce things up a little later. But this is all about seeing what the lights are doing. So there's a 2-to-1. That's as easy as it is. We want to spruce things up a little bit. So let's find something else to do with this second light. We're going to keep our main, but let's see what we can do with the second light to add a little bit more interest to this shot. So I've moved my lights around a little bit, and the one thing I did was I got the main much closer. What this is going to do is actually create a more gentle fall off all by itself. The closer your big main light is, the gentler the transition from light to dark. Now, since I don't have a second light over here, what I did was I brought in a strip reflector. This is called soft silver. I really like this. It puts out a little more light than a white reflector, but it's not quite as specular as a shiny silver, so it's somewhere in between. Really like these. Rogue makes these. So what I've done is I've taken my second light. I have a standard reflector head on it. Let you see it right there. And I've got it pointing, at the background. What this is for is to just create a gradation of light behind Francesca. So it's going to hit the background here, add a little bit of light to dark gradation. Something very simple, but something that's going to add a whole lot of more interest to the shot. So again, since I've moved everything, I'm going to remeter. I don't need to meter this side of the face because the reflector isn't adding any light. It's just redirecting some that's already here. So let's go ahead and get a reading. And I'm going to go right back to the camera now. And I'm getting F9 at 100 ISO. So I can have Francesca come right here. Let's go ahead and measure the background. I want to see, out of curiosity, what it's at. And it's at F7, so it's 2/3 of a stop under. That's nice. With the gray background, what it's going to do is make it a very light gray, gradating to a darker gray. Oh, one other thing. Notice the positioning of the main light. It's no longer pointing towards the background. A little bit of it is going back, but most of it is going this way. This is called feathering. The reason for feathering is, instead of having the light shine right on your person, when you have the light coming across, it's taking advantage of the shiny insides of the reflector. So even though I'm still getting light directly here onto my subject, this far side that's in here is now a light source that is a little bit less power. So it's going to create a natural gradation from light to dark. And the fact that it's way out here, and this is a nice big reflector, it's actually going to be able to get around to the far side of her face a little bit. And what this reflector is doing is just aiding that, adding a little bit more bounce back into her face. So let's get Francesca right here. All right, hon. So let's see. Again, I want you to turn your body towards the main light. Let's start that way, the other way. Yep, turn that way. And then we're going to switch her around. We'll do the other side. Okay. So we've got our reading. Do you remember what I said it was? Because my short-term memory shot. Yeah, it was F8. It's okay. We'll get these numbers down. Okay. All right, so let's see how this looks. Yeah, that's nice. I'm going to bring the reflector up a little bit more. There we go. Oh, that's kind of nice too. Beautiful. You got it. You got it. No, you were doing great. That's fine. I'm going to actually bring this out a little bit further. And let's see how that looks. You were doing great. You were doing exactly, it was perfect, except your eyes closed there. That's okay. Oh. No, that's the beauty of these lights. Nice. Now drop that shoulder even more. The one closer to me. And put your hand on your hip. There we go. Square on to me. Straight on it. Turn to me square. There we go, right there. Good. So I did a couple of things. First of all, I learned that Francesca can't do evil. She's too nice.
I don't have it in me.
No, she's sweet. So that's good to know, because when you're photographing someone, you want to say something about them. And trying to make you look mean, it's not in you. It's just not who you are. So with that said, that's important. So we want to keep the portraits that we can do moody.
Okay.
We can do contemplative.
Okay.
But aggressive, mean, it's not you. So we'll keep that in mind when we're doing our light patterns and what we're after and what I'm going to ask you to do. Because if you're asking your subject to be someone they're not, it's never going to work. So that's important to know. So by adding that little splash of light on the background, it completely transformed the whole mood of the portrait. Our reflectors filling in the shadows a little bit. I actually feathered this a little bit more. I actually brought it out a little further to get a little bit more wrap from the light around to her, and it created a nice portrait with just two lights. What's next? We're going to move the second light to something else.